Hey guys, Mr. Ridgway here. Welcome back after our break. We are going to be heading on to our next unit, which is going to be geodemography. We're going to talk about what that means and the project that we're going to be doing for this particular lesson. So let's get started. Okay. Number one, our first geography thing that we're going to be dealing with is just, again, like we do with every unit, we're kind of adding in a new kind of element to the whole map practice. This time, we're going to be identifying all 50 states in the United States. So again, because we don't want this to be you down here, we need to have just an ability that you can know things and be competent in terms of where all the different states are. So you have a couple choices as to how you want to do this. Just like last time, you have option number one, which is to do a PowerPoint puzzle, and you can submit a picture of puzzle from slide number 5, the puzzle from slide number 9, or the puzzle from slide number 13, excuse me. And then you need to submit a screenshot of that in Schoology once you've solved it. The other option that you have, again, is memorize. And so the app is here. You just need to take a screenshot that you have mastered 20 of the 50 words into your long-term memory. Once you've done that, though, you're going to see that inevitably, we're going to take some time to practice, of course, in class. We have to talk about what this next unit is. And that is this thing with geodemography and the project that we're going to be doing with this unit. So what geodemography refers to is the movement of people over time. And so what we're going to do is, as you can see here, it says the Family Lineage Project. We're going to be taking this and really shrinking it down to a very, very, very micro level because we're going to be looking at how your family has moved, why, and how you might be moving in the future. And that's kind of the focus of the project. So again, there is no, test per se in terms of like a big huge test at the end. We'll have a quiz that'll talk about some of the different things about migration that we'll learn about and some mini lessons along the way, but this project is really our capstone going forward. So let's talk about what this thing is. Okay, so again, geodemography, all that refers to is the movement of people over time and the reasons why they move or don't, and the project is going to have you do a few different things. It's going to have you, look at your family. It's going to have you analyze some of those motivations. It's going to have you look at some genealogy as well, and then your plans for moving in the future. A little bit differently, though, than last unit. We kind of did all of it at the end once we had looked at different world religions and things like that. We're going to be building this one throughout this unit, and we'll talk about some ways that we do that. Okay, so there's 3 goals of the project. Number one, I guess here, because I don't know how to format. One, you're going to be creating a chart and a map of family history in relation to your genealogy and location. We'll talk about how you do those things. 2, we're going to look at some personal history and especially how we can connect that personal history to some larger trends that have happened with the movement of people over time. And then last but not least, we're going to do some meaningful reflection on that. And we'll talk about how you're going to reflect about your future and where you might move and things like that. So let's note one thing here about family before we go on. You're going to, as you go through this project, there is a good chance that you are going to find some things about your family or find out things about your family that might make you anywhere from might make you feel ambivalent. It might make you feel proud. It could make you feel ashamed or even like embarrassed. Those feelings are okay and they're legitimate. And the thing that I want to emphasize to you here is that in this project, we're not using this as an opportunity to like out your family or to show off your family or anything like that. This project is designed for us to look at your family in a meaningful way so that we can compare it to some of these larger trends that have happened throughout the movement of people over time. And with that in mind, you can feel free to disclose as little or as much about your family as you would like to. Just be aware that there might have to be some uncomfortable conversations sometimes, going forward about what it means to, live in this world and move different places and be related to certain folks. And I'll talk about this more in class and try to give you some examples about how you can kind of deconstruct some of these feelings. We are now going to do an overview of the project, and we'll do this in class. I'm going to go ahead and do it here, and then there's going to be 3 things that we're going to do here, 3 questions about how to practice for interviewing. Now, you'll do this with me in class, so I'm not, this should be open to you. You can do it, independently, but interviewing your family is going to be one of these first steps. But let's get into the project itself, shall we? Okay, now this slide that you're looking at right here is available inside the Unit 3 project folder. Okay, so when you open it up, you should see this link. It'll send you here. Let's talk about the rubric. Okay, so the rubric is pretty straightforward. It's on Schoology, but it's right here. You really just have to have all those components that we talked about. There's going to be this thing called a family data chart. There's going to be a family tree, a family migration map, a reflection, and then some stuff with mechanics about having different parts and stuff like that. So let's talk about this family tree. Okay, so all of these elements, and again, don't worry, there's little tutorials that have been embedded inside them. Okay, I'm just going to go to interviewing family first. I don't have a huge amount of time to talk about these, but we'll break them down more in class. So the first step in this project is going to be interviewing your family. And I've got a lot of recommendations about best practices here, because what you're going to create and what you're going to make out of this, you're going to fill out, is something called a family data chart. Okay. And so this just gives you a grid of information that you can, here in a second, utilize to do some pretty awesome stuff. Okay. The thing you need to know is that, and again, I'll go over this in class, I've got instructions up here, is that I've tried to design this to save you as much typing as possible. Okay, but note the titles up here at the top. Again, I don't have time to go through all of them right now. But it's really, really important that you don't need to go beyond great grandparents. I only did it to my grandparents in this project, and that was a lot for me. So I think you could probably stop there. Don't go like further than immediate uncles, in-laws, things like that. It's going to be too much. And then again, we're going to look at some of these different factors like occupations, how long they lived there, why did they move there, notable push-pull remain factors, et cetera, some other notable events. Once we've done that, then, okay, we can take that information. We go to step number 2 here in making a family tree. So this is what mine looks like that I made. And there are instructions on this slide how to make yours. This is the second part of the project that you have to have done. Again, the first part being that data chart that I just showed you. Let's talk about the third part. It's this migration map, and here's what mine looks like. Okay, again, you can go and check out this model, and I've got a tutorial video on how to make yours. Okay, it's right here, and you can go and analyze how Mr. Ridgway and different 2 other members of my family, you have to have a total of 3, have moved over time, and so you can go and kind of jump into this information. I'll teach you how to make one. I've got a tutorial right there. And then the last one, there's actually not a link here because it's done through Flipgrid, is you have to do a meaningful reflection on the project. And there's several prompts, I think about 5 or 6, that I'm going to ask you to respond to. Just be aware, you can't respond to these until you've done the other work first, including some of the work with mini lessons that we'll do in the class. Okay, so this kind of comes later in the process. Then once you've done everything, you put it all together, and you put it all together in a PowerPoint template that I've got for you right here. Okay, you can click on it to your heart's content. The only thing that you need to know with this project and the template is that you're going to be putting in QR codes, and it's going to look something like this. So here's mine. I didn't do a reflection on mine just because I want you to, again, make that your own individual thing. The really, really important thing that I want you to remember here is that you need to hyperlink both, or that you need to not only provide the QR code so that it's scannable, because we're going to put these up, okay? But second, you need to hyperlink the QR codes because we're going to digitally publish these as well. And it's really annoying to have to pull your phone out and scan these QR codes when you could just hyperlink them and then click them. And it's a lot easier. And we'll talk about how you do that in class. Okay. And then once you do that, you turn it all into Schoology and it's done. Okay. So that's the overview on the project. And I really look forward to what you guys are going to make. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.